we should emphasise as well the fact that this is a fantastically brand new area of work that you're working on. You're not just using things, you're really researching into a new area of application for this. How did your residency come about?
The residency came about like many things. I approached the Natural History Museum and initially did get not that much response. Via various ways, my initial email made its way through the complicated system, ended up with Andrew, and he responded with enthusiasm, I have to say, which was great. And I met Andrew, and we met and we compared notes, and we found that there's so many overlapping issues that we're both interested in, that we would like to develop that into a proper research project, which we then applied for funding from the Arts and Humanities Research Council and did secure the funding for a pilot. So we've just done a pilot to see whether the project is viable, and hopefully, as you can see from what I've shown, there's more here to look at if you wanted to have a look. It's a viable project that we are hoping to extend. I'd
just like to ask as well, how do you see that these new pigment, well, not pigments, these new techniques affecting art? I mean, what's the impact?
Well, I think it will really change our approach to painting. I think it is really, one could maybe say, trying not to be too grand, but I think it is revolutionizing painting, because painting is a stationary medium. You get one thing and just the one thing. It's preserving. And this is adding a completely new dimension. As you can see, you can hide things, you can make them reappear, the color changes, depending on... These are very small, so I'm having to shuffle them around to show the changes, yes, but if I'm doing very big scale, large scale work, the viewer will really move around and go close, look at it from all different angles. So our stationary receptive position as the viewer is also going to change as a result of this.
So not just the art, but the way people interact with it is going to
alter.
Yes,
I think it's going to be more interactive.
So if we could have the PowerPoint up again, and we've got another question here.
Because of the nature of the structure of the material you're using, will that mean your artwork will be preserved because the colours will never change?
Yes, I think that's very interesting about this type of paint. On one level, it's dynamic and changes constantly because it depends on the light and on the position of the viewer. But also it means it will preserve much better than pigments, chemical pigments do, because they do fade. Yes, and the restorers are having quite a problem restoring some of the older paintings. These should last quite a long time. Probably the support they are on will deteriorate much before the colour.
Fantastic. So people, sort of hundreds of years hence, will be able to view your work.
Should be able to, yes.
As you
daunting.
Okay, well, finally, we've barely touched upon the subject, but I'd like to find out from both of you sort of what the next step is, both in terms of your research into this area and also, Franziska, into your research into the applications of this new field.
Yeah, well, I suppose my research is heading towards trying to produce pigments that's ripe for art and for industry as well. There are various industries now interested in putting these pigments onto cars, for example. There's already a number of cars out there using this type of paint that have iridescent pigments as opposed to chemical pigments. So nature are producing these things very efficiently in quite a large range. So what we're trying to do is culture the cells that make them and farm them off ready for industry to use. And it's working already in some cases of single-celled organisms. The butterflies requires a lot more work, but we've already produced a single butterfly scale in the lab. So if we can produce that scale on an industrial level, then there's all sorts of potential.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for this to happen, of course. Can't wait to get my hands on these to actually then. That would be a wonderful circle, wouldn't it? It comes from nature, is being cell cultured, then is being turned into art. My research is obviously, I have mainly used very specific, Andrew went through a number of different systems earlier. Multi-layer system, you might remember it very vaguely. That's the materials that I've been mainly using up to this point. But as technology progresses, the industry is also has produced diffraction gratings that are available as pigments and photonic crystals. They are all being produced on the verge of coming onto the market, and some of them are now available. Difficult to source, but available. And as these materials come in, I'll be able to mimic more different creatures and much more of a range of different effects, and that is really where I would like to go next. So I'll be looking into different animal groups. We are keeping our fingers crossed. We would like to extend the project.
I think I speak for the whole audience. And I'm fascinated to see where this goes next, where they see these wonderful, vivid images, and if it's something that we'll be able to see more of. Well, that's about all we've got time for today. Thank you so much for coming along and for your questions. If you'd like to come up and have a look at some of the work that Franziska's brought along, or if you've got any other questions, please feel free to do so. I'd also like to thank our online audience, and just to repeat, if you want to find out about any of our future events, you can pick up a programme or have a look at the What's On section. But for now, I hope you'll join me very much in thanking Andrew Parker and Franziska Schenk for coming along and sharing their work with us. Goodbye.
Thank you.